Serious, what was your weirdest, creepiest online experience? It seems I have some sort of online stalker right now. Someone giving out my number all over the internet claiming to be some attractive girl named Sarah. I have thirsty guys texting me almost every day looking to hook up. It was funny at first. But now that the random dick pics have started, it's a bit much. I'm a dude. Definitely not some horny girl named Sarah you met on Omegle. It is creepy because it started 6 months ago and is still happening consistently, and I have no idea who it could be because I changed my number 12 months ago and only a handful of people I know all have the number. Some person did text me knowing the city and area I live and started threatening to find me if I didn't show him my boobs. It's just insanity. When I was a kid, my computer has hacked. I guess. I wasn't the only one using it. And definitely wasn't the one that got the virus. But a chat would pop up telling me to remove my shirt and undress. And the camera light turned on. I was like 9. I was casual friends from someone I played RuneScape with for a year. We didn't know each other outside of RuneScape. One day we argue about something petty and suddenly they PM me all my details. My home address. My family members. My stomach sank. Just last week my wife asked on a community group whether she could walk people's dogs for them. She got a message from a dude saying he'd pay her $100 for a pair of her socks after she'd worn them for a day of walking. Sounds like an easy $100. From time to time I receive random text messages from different numbers and somehow the conversation always ends with "you know me" from the other person. A long time ago while playing Counter-Strike 1.6 I got into an argument with another player and they opened up my iDisk tray to my desktop computer. I turned my computer off and unplugged it so fast. Lol. That reminds of the old link you could select advertising a Freaker folder. You hit it and it would open the CD tray. My kid once gave out his password to some random guy on the internet who promised he would level him up in a game. Yeah. That guy got into all my kids' accounts and added his home address, which was in a different state. So, that got reported to the police and I got to sit my then 11-year-old down and have a very frank talk about what we don't ever do online with strangers. I was playing GTA V a few years ago and I was talking in a lobby with the other players. One of them asks if I had went to Dollar General that day. I did, so I asked why. I figured he was setting up a joke or something. He said he was at Dollar General earlier and recognized my voice and that he lived on First Street, which was the street next to mine. I didn't talk much after that. I used to fiddle around on an app called IMVU. It's popular among people who roleplay stories. You make little avatars and can enter chat rooms with other people. There's also a direct messaging section. During one of my many years on that app, I had one person constantly DM me every few weeks. Eventually, I got a text on Instagram saying I looked nice and that I should go to a lake nearby my house. Now, this is odd because it wasn't anyone I knew of. And I didn't put my personal information on IMVU, Instagram, or anything else I have. I blocked the account and a few seconds later my IMVU pinged. It was a text from that account again. Before anyone asks. Yes, I did block them. I blocked every new account they had, and it was that same person again. Asking why I blocked them. By that point, I was just done and deleted the app altogether. No one ever knocked on my door. And I never saw anyone following me, so I'm assuming they were just pinging my address. For unrelated reasons. We moved a few months after that, thankfully. I co-admin a Discord server for a popular survival game. We have had the same creepy person join several times under different aliases. He is known IRL for sexual harassment, blackmail, and is a registered sex offender. He keeps rejoining our community and others. Always under new accounts. It's creepy AF. I recently got Discord and a random guy DM'd me. He seemed nice. We talked for about 5 minutes or so until I asked him how he got to me of all people on Discord to DM, and he sent me a file of something. I wasn't stupid enough to download something from someone random on the internet, so I asked what's the download about and he hasn't replied back. Kind of curious still after 2 years what he sent. Edit. So during that time I was starting to become friends with this girl I have no contact with now. After reading a particular comment I decided to bust out my 15-year-old Mac that has no use for anything. And opened it in the Mac. Opening the file made my screen go black and opened a notebook file that just said, "Do you remember girl's name?" I don't know what the hell this means. Someone has to know how a file can do this too, right? Send PLS. I wanna run it inside a VM and see what it is. When I lived in a dorm my freshman year of college, there was a creepy dude who was always hitting on the girls. At first his messages were exactly what you'd expect. Like, "I'll treat you right girl and you ain't never gon' see a man like me." But after a few rejections, he started sending nonsense. Inka Finka Do was one I'd get a lot. And variations thereof. I blocked him. But he created new accounts. Then one day he said he was going to come me and I was going to like it. I screenshotted the hell out of that and reported it to the authorities. Turns out, I wasn't the only girl he'd been bothering. He got kicked out of school. Was banned from being near the girls' dorm. And the last I heard he was a delivery guy for Papa John's Pizza because he couldn't get a better job with a collective restraining order placed on him. What is Inka Finka Do? I'm sorry, that's the only thing that's got me laughing my ass off. I was extensively groomed by multiple people from age 13 until I became an adult. Unfortunately for them, and luckily for me, being extremely online since I was a tween wised me up very quickly to what they were doing. So I'd usually enjoy the attention, and occasionally gifts, for a while until they got too aggressive, they caught on and one of us ghosted. In hindsight, I wish I had told someone. I was smart. Continuing to engage with them at all is stupid on all levels, but some of them were very clever and charming and I could absolutely believe less savvy kids fell for it. The amount of brazen pedophiles online will never cease to amaze me. I found a Discord server with a bunch of 13-18-year-olds jacking off, sending nudes, and esting. Nope, the out there. Dat illegal. Go to report like that. Teenagers are really dumb and don't realize like this can come back to bite them in the ass years later. Not to mention the pedophiles that likely lurk there. One day, I had randomly got a text telling me to meet up to discuss things at a specific location and specific time. The thing was, that specific location was just across the street from my house. When the time came, I looked at the place yet no one was there. I believe a car would have drove past seeing if I was there or not. When I wasn't, they would have just drove off without stopping. You shoulda gone there. Brought your parents and 7 friends. 4 German shepherds. A baseball bat. A kitchen knife. And called the cops to report a death threat hostage situation at that location. Yesterday a random account with no post history sent me a message titled Comodao, with a link to an image of a chopped off penis. So that one was the most recent. Had a girl from the UK abusing an exploit to get rich on a social platform that had its own virtual currency you can purchase with real cash. After talking to her she made me listen to her but because it turned her on immensely and the weirdest part, I wasn't the only guy she did it with. She was really famous for doing things like this. One of my buddies got sucked into something like this. They masturbated on camera together and she tried to blackmail him saying she was gonna put the video on the internet. He didn't give her and told her to do so anyways. I existed on chatrooms as a 13-year-old girl. If we wanted to we could catch every pedophile so easily, lol, they don't even try to hide. Someone here on Reddit threatened to dox me and come after me. Because I mentioned in a comment that I started a club for women science students in grad school. He really harassed me for a long time. Saying he had combed through my history and was close to figuring out who I was. Claiming he was in the same field he thought I was in. And how he was going to make sure I was punished. I had to delete my account. This girl started from Reddit actually. Started sending me messages. Seemed tame at first and I played along to see where it would go, but remained cautious. One day she is complaining that she has major pain from period cramps and asked me to send her money for pain relief. Once I saw that, I knew right away she was trying to scam me. I'm usually a very private person. Purge my accounts once a year, no real name and burner email, kind of private. Haven't had a creepy encounter in years. But when I was younger, before I changed my name, it was fairly easy to find me. I was on Tinder and someone started showing their crazy colors, so I unmatched them with a message about how it wasn't working. It was also around the time where I started dating myself. But the person actually googled my name, found my Facebook, and, in an attempt to be cute I guess, went all I think you accidentally unmatched me, but no worries, I found your social media and I can go to city I lived in, so we can continue talking over coffee. And yeah. You know when I told you it wasn't working? This is exactly why. I guess I'm lucky to not have experienced any truly uncomfortable situations. My parents were really great at teaching me about dangers on the internet. The Hugh Jason Inhale and Cole Harold story. TL. DR for both. Hugh Jason Inhale. Guy suspects wife is cheating and goes to our relationship advice for help. After confronting his wife, she plays it off. After a while, he asks for a divorce. While sleeping, the wife kills their 2 kids and then slits her own throat. The police call is creepy as hell. Cole Harold. Guy ran his own computer programming subreddit a few years ago. He was caught by the police for making his own child PN with his 9-year-old son. Words do not encapsulate how absolutely disturbing that second story is. Many years ago I received random AOL messages, I think AOL, from a random underage female asking to hang out or something. I obviously told her to off. I wasn't a creep like that. But I always wondered who or why someone would try to set me up like that. And how often that actually worked. I mean, I never chatted with anyone online. Ever. Nor did I ever try to find love online. It was totally random. And seemed real fishy. Most definitely seemed like an attempt at entrapment. This happened to me. I was a kid though. I acted like I was an older dude. We ended up talking and she gave me her number. I called her and tried sound like an adult by forcing my voice to be as deep as I can go. I was like 9 or 10, so you can imagine how fake I sounded. After like 5 minutes of me trying to act like a cool adult, I heard a burst of laughter in the background and she told me to not talk to strangers and hung up. Not the worst. But when I was 16 I had just gotten a headset for gaming with a microphone and was starting to creep out if my shell just a smidge. Had gotten a game called Days, standalone. Didn't have a good grasp on the controls and emotes. And couldn't type fast enough to try and avoid potential hostilities with other players. So I decide to give voice input a whirl. First flipping day in game like that. I'm loot in a building. Well-armed guy and his friends approach it. Preempt and say something like, "Hey, I'm here. Non-hostile. Y'all can have the loot in there. I'll be on my way. Just don't want any fuss." Foolishly, I had the gall to use a female avatar and have the voice of a little girl. Cause you know, I kinda was. They tied and stripped my character and started upping our pay scenario, demanding I start moaning before I Alt plus F4 at the out. As a kid, maybe 7 or 8, I was on this website and there was a video of a guy talking popped up, but it was on mute. Anyway, I started scrolling down the website and the video guy held out his hands like whoa stop, so I stopped scrolling and was kinda like, what? And he started pointing up. So I'm kinda thinking, is this guy live and how does he know I've scrolled down? After I scrolled up he indicated to stop again and kept talking. I took the video off mute and he started talking and addressing me. I didn't say anything but kinda pointed at myself like, are you talking to me? And he said yes. Then I realized the webcam had been turned on and this guy could see me. I hadn't granted permissions or anything. I felt a bit freaked out. Closed the website and went to tell my mum. When she came over and revisited the website, the guy was gone and it was just a normal website. We got rid of the webcam after that. It had creeped me out. Mid-90s. Started chatting with a celebrity I admired on AIM and he started getting really creepy really fast. He sent me nude photos of himself to prove it was him. We had dial-up so they took forever to load, and then said I was too old for him and wanted to know if I knew any younger girls. I finally blocked him. Not interested in getting sued, so I won't say who. But I will say he's gotten in trouble in the last couple of years for similar activities. Eater. Not anybody who's been guessed so far. Maybe celebrity is a bit of a reach. But his work was extremely popular in the early to mid 90s. He had a massive hit show and his legal issues happened in 2018. On Tumblr. I was making fun of people who idolize mass shooters and just fighting with them because that's what stupid teenagers do. Someone responded to my mockery by drawing me being upheld by the Columbine shooters. Edit. I just wanted to add that I was fighting with them because people who idolize mass shooters are horrible and I hate them. This is incredibly next level disturbing. I had a guy describe to me in graphic detail how he wanted to murder me. Down to how I would feel as I lay dying. All because I laughed at his comment. I was a bit freaked out until I realized that he's in Australia. Built like a weed and poor af. Then I laughed some more cause I live a very expensive plane ride away and have a husband who could backhand him back into 2020. Still blocked him though. I'm weirdo. I'm starting a GoFundMe for that guy now. Just so your husband could backhand him back into 2020. I have Whisper. You know, the anonymous app where people confess stuff and can chat or whatever. Anyways, I posted something on Whisper about my ex-boyfriend breaking up with me and this random guy hits me up like, hey, you want a date? I had no idea who this man was and he kept trying to ask me out and then he would message me every day trying to get to know me and just in general being very creepy, and eventually I just blocked him. I was playing Counter-Strike around 2000 when a random player came up to me and tagged a picture of me and my best friend and our girlfriends taken from the back while we were visiting SeaWorld on a wall in front of me and then logged off right after. I manage a Discord server for a mobile game I play. A month or two ago, I deleted something a user said because it was inaccurate info. I wasn't mean about it. Just said I was going to delete it and why. Someone DM'd me later that day and said she wanted to express concern about something. She showed me screenshots of another Discord server and there's the user. Raging over me deleting that comment. Calling me a fat ass and disgusting and a picture of me. Note that I didn't reveal my real name anywhere on the server, as far as I know, and even if I had, all my stuff on FB is locked down. And that picture hadn't been uploaded by me but by my husband, who also has their stuff totally locked down. I googled my name just to see if that's how they found it. Nothing. I still don't know how they found that picture, but it made me feel really vulnerable. I guess one thing that still nags at me about it is what if that user is on my or my husband's friends list and I just don't realize it's the same person? Fairly certain I heard someone commit suicide or something terrible happened to a guy during a Destiny 2 raid. Pickup group with randoms was going well, when all of a sudden one kid stops talking. A few minutes later a woman's voice can be heard through the mic and she is screaming uncontrollably in a confused, sad way. She kept saying his name, crying, and screaming. Went on for about 5 minutes. Stayed in the party for about 45 minutes waiting to see if he would come back and say something. I sent him a message but never heard back. Checked 6 months later and he hadn't logged back in, as Xbox has the feature last seen in X days. Me. I was the creep. Years back I had an addiction to Twitter and followed a bunch of random people. One person I followed was visiting my home city from across the country and posted a photo of a creepy doll she saw at a local store. I knew where it was, so I went over to the store and took a few photos of the doll in different creepy poses. Then I created a fake Twitter profile for the doll and sent her a couple DMs. I felt really gross after that and decided to delete Twitter on the spot. I had an online friend that I met through ICQAII back in the late 90s. We chatted for years before eventually losing touch. Fast forward 12 years to the day I got married and this friend of my husband's walks up and gives me a kiss on the cheek and says that was from Errol and walked away. Errol was the old friend's name. I was stunned and asked my husband's friend how he knew Errol, and he told me Errol approached him online via Facebook after noticing that he was friends with my husband, who of course was friends with me. Errol made up this whole fake persona acting like he had similar interests to my husband's friend just to get his foot in the door. He had been stalking me via this friend for years. From afar. He was able to ruin my wedding day. Okay, here's mine a little creepy, more weird. I'm a big gamer and was part of a community playing a certain game. One of the newer members heard me telling one of my stories whilst I was drunk, I guess. About how I slept with a girl whilst her friend ate chicken in the same room. So about a week goes by and the newer guy posts on our forum board. He has shot a full softcore PRN video with what only looked like a crackhead with her fully acting out a sex scene whilst screaming my in-game name and eating a bucket of KFC chicken. I found this hilarious, of course, although after he started to post more of this same sort of stuff. Always budget looking like he was picking up chicks off the street or holding them hostage. It got kinda creepy. TLDR. I was on Discord and my friends wanted me to make a post. I took a screenshot of Smile Dog and was going to use it. BTW, I'm not trying to push any cursed image bull. I was going to make a post meme out of it. When I went to my gallery, there was 30 duplicates scattered across my entire gallery, even in sections of photos that were months old. Pretty sure it was just a glitch, but me and my friends were freaked out the rest of the night. This is probably lower tier compared to the other ones on this post. When my YouTube channel took off, I had a creepy stalker. At first it made me feel like a celebrity. But then she said she was going to fly to meet me, so I gave her my friend's old address, real address, but far as away from me, and blocked her emails. Also used to chat online with this one guy I met while playing a really niche game, i.e. old game with only 5-6 people on the servers at any one time. He was cool to talk to, if a bit too open at times to a complete stranger. I had just met this guy and he was already sending photos of his newborn daughter and stuff. But whatever, he was happy, so I guess NBD. Anyways, hadn't chatted with him for a while until one day he messages me telling me he's celebrating getting out of prison for strangling his wife. I got a Snapchat from a name I didn't recognize a few years ago. Snapped him back as a joke asking if he was coming to the party tonight. He said absolutely. You still live on 4th Ave? Full stop. I did live on a very short street named 4th Ave. I immediately apologized for lying with them and asked them how they got my details. Turns out, it was a good friend of mine who just joined Snapchat and was snapping me for the first time. Scared the out of me before I realized who it was. I had an online buddy who befriended a guy that would come into Discord and ask for relationship advice. Which this premise is already hilarious because I've been married for 10 years and my buddy hasn't been laid in like 10 years. The guy was the closest thing to an incel I've ever experienced in my life. I thought incels were like unicorns that only existed on small communities in the internet. But this guy was real. He told me of girls he was interested in. And when they stopped responding, he was going to hack them and then get their personal address. Then he would show up to their house with a boombox playing a song they talked about like this was some sort of rom-com, and her panties would come flying off. It was truly some insane. I didn't know where he lived or even his first name, so I couldn't do anything but try to tell him to not do it. He was hell-bent on doing it. It was a pretty ed situation. I'm still not sure if he did it or not.